Hello, folks, and welcome back on a new Monday live with your two, the duel here. I'm Hurricane H, and I have with me,
John C. Morley.
that's right, and we are
Double
Double Impact,
impact.
baby. So welcome back to the show. And again, this is your show where you can ask questions, you can put your comments on the chat, and we can respond to them. And we're going to talk about different things. So this is just a regular chat about business, about different things that are happening. So, John, let's get started. How is your week? Or how
My
was the
week
last
is
week,
always
actually?
great. It's always fantastic. But I guess I want to roll back to two interesting things. So the other day, somebody said to me, John, and I don't know if you guys know, I've added articles to my repertoire of things that I do, and actually, I published over 8,000 words last week, which was pretty interesting. Anyway, one of my friends said to me, John, how does cameras work? I said, what do you mean, how do cameras work? Well, how do they work? Like, what's different with a camera today and a camera like 100 years ago? I said, well, the cameras today are digital and the cameras 100 years ago weren't digital. Yeah, but like, how does that work? Well, the cameras today have a sensor. What's a sensor? So I said, maybe I should write a paper on understanding the evolution of sensors. And at the end of the paper, I talked about something interesting. Maybe most people don't know what ISO is, Industry Standard Organization. That's that little thing on your camera. And in the older film, more of the cinema type cameras, they were called iOS. So they just kind of just did it weird, but it's ISO, Industry Standard Organization. So when you want to change the film speed, people say, John, what's film speed? It doesn't make the film go faster. It doesn't make it go slower. It affects, really, it's not the speed, it's the amplification of the photon particles to how well they are received at a higher level or lower. So if the film speed's higher, it's going to be basically turning up the amp, like turning up your mic. If it's lower speed, it's going to be like turning it down. But then I had a question for somebody. I said, well, gee, so how did they do that years ago? Because there was no button that you just touched. Or how did you make film 100 or film 1,000? Like what did you do? Well, there's a process. So many years ago, when 35 millimeter film was very popular, everything was chemical. Like we had chemical developing and stuff like that. Now we don't do that anymore. Well, the way film was made many years ago was it was a plastic cellulite piece of strip, and there was actually a layer of floating gelatin over the film. And then there were these crystals. They call them halide crystals. And the bigger and number of crystals that you had sped up the film. So if you had film with X crystals and they were a certain size, your film could be maybe 800 as opposed to less. So I thought that was pretty interesting that today, people take for granted that they can just, dial up or dial down the speed, but do they really understand what they're doing when you talk about the speed? Well, I'm making it faster, making it slow. No, you're not really making anything. You're speed is a bad name for that. But the reason they did it was because of what happened many years ago when film first started. The speed at which the photons were, let's say, developed was why we called it speed. Now it's just amplification.
I always learn.
And you can check that out at believemeachieve.com. And there's a whole new section on there called John's Recent Articles. So you can always check that out. That's a simple 800 to 1,000 word page that you can, scan through.
So, John,
And yeah.
yeah. So, just I didn't mean to cut you off, but just on that note, where can the people actually watch your shows? Because let's talk about that for a minute.
Oh, sure,
'Cause I
sure,
know
sure.
you do
So
a
I
lot
make
of
it
stuff.
really easy. You can
Yeah.
just go to believemeachieve.com, and not only can they watch my shows, IFYL, J Moore Tech Talk, they can also get all kinds of other great content, like my articles, and they can see all kinds of videos that I produce, like John's Daily National Day videos. You obviously know about those. And on Saturday, you know what Saturday was?
No clue.
Well, what was the date of Saturday?
13, I think. Oh, 12. Yeah. Days are moving fast.
They're
Oh,
kind of merging into each other.
I know. Time is
All right.
flying. You know, when you're having
So
fun.
on Saturday, it was November 12th.
Yep.
Okay. It's actually one of my favorite days. You know what was one of my favorite days? Because that was National French Dip Day.
Okay. I would like to ask what that is because, you
Okay.
know.
So French dip is a sandwich today that's served with an au jus sauce, and you dip the the cheese with the usually the steak or the meat into the dip, and then you eat it, and it's absolutely delicious. It's usually served on a French baguette, and
Mhm.
usually they range between about 400 to 1,200 calories per sandwich. So it's not something you want to just digest in one meal. So I usually break it down. But anyway, the thing about National French Dip Day is there's a controversy about National French Dip Day. Do you know what that is?
Nope. I'm
Well,
discovering.
I'll be happy to tell you. So, there was a controversy. And the controversy happened a while back because people said, who developed the French dip, right? And there were two people. One was Philippe Mathieu, and that's Philippematheu, who claims to be the founder in 1918, when he accidentally dropped a French roll baguette into a warm, juice filled roasted pan. And the customer said that they'd eat anyway. Don't worry about it. I'll still eat it. But the controversy is that there is a famous restaurant called Cole's. Okay. And Cole's is also in Los Angeles. And Cole's was said to have developed the French dip. Now, there's still a controversy to this day because the Cole's restaurant don't believe that he was the first to invent it. Follow me so far?
I'm just trying to figure out the timeline here because one is like way early in the century and the other one is later. So what gives?
Yeah. So, first of all, what you need to know is that French dip actually doesn't just mean a sandwich. When it came out originally, it wasn't just a sandwich. French dip was a type of a lady's dress.
Okay, that's a whole different industry, but
So Matthew was a French designer. Follow me so far?
I'm all in, baby.
Okay.
I'm learning.
All right. So Cole's French dip, or Felipe's in California, Los Angeles, have probably one of the best tasting French dips. But the one I had the other night was pretty good from a local, Irish pub. And so the question is,
I'm sorry,
what?
that's funny.
What's that?
French dip in Irish pub. That's cool. In the States, unbelievable.
We can do anything we want here in the States. You know
I, I,
that?
it's just amazing. Everything can get spicy with like a French thing or like some sort of a nice little title. It makes it different, right?
Yeah.
Go
So,
ahead.
so the question really comes down to this: when the heck did the French dip actually originate?
According to what you said, it's like 19 something, 18, whatever. So
Yeah, but there's a controversy. The controversy is the inventor of the sandwich, since they were both restaurants, had been open since the early 1890s.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
There's a question of who came up with it first. Now, from what I've read, Felipe was this designer for women's dresses. And so he developed the French dip dress. And so I really think it was him. But you see, what happened was in the 1890s, that's when Cole's restaurant had its grand opening. And they had proclaimed that the historic cultural monument of Los Angeles and business in this location, and therefore they wanted the French dip to embody all of that. but I don't think they really truly developed. There's still a fight over it
Damn.
because Matthew was not a French chef in the beginning. He was a designer.
Well,
Follow me so far?
I'm following you, but this kind of opens up the idea of trademarking and patent,
Yeah, that didn't happen
business.
back then. So the French dip is a roast meat sandwich where the juices of the roast just kind of simmer together in a very delicate sauce and baguette and served over a nice bed of uh, light, crunchy French fries.
Yummy. For those people who
Now,
are watching right now, it's dinner time.
the other philosophy about this was how it was made was that the people at Kohl's said that it wasn't that they made it and it fell into the dip while they were arguing. That wasn't how it happened. There was a guy that came into his restaurant before they had the grand opening, which is like a soft opening, and he was having a problem with his mouth. So the chef said, "Okay, no problem. I'll give you a sandwich with some warm gravy. You can dip it in, and it'll be easier for you to bite on." So this created a big host of problems. Now, the thing you should know is that in 2007, okay, the Kohl's restaurant gets a massive renovation and they get transformed by a brand new owner, a corporation, and they reopen in 2008. You see where the problem's coming in here. Because they're claiming it was theirs from day one. Who knows when that was, but it's when the new owners took over that they got a little bit greedy and claimed it was theirs originally. So in 2018 is when the French dip became a national holiday. So the first National French Dip Day celebrated to mark 100 years of the restaurant and the sandwich. The French dip is also served now in France, not a French sandwich, on Bastille Day for the soldiers. Okay. So this really did a 360, didn't it?
Yeah.
So what's the best way to eat a French dip sandwich? Well, the best way is to I like to have the sandwich nice and warm. And if it's cold, put it in the microwave for a minute or so and warm the au jus for just 30 or 40 seconds and then just dip it lightly in there. That culmination of the au jus and the meat and the baguette, it's heavenly. It's a light broth. It's not even a gravy. It's just a very light broth. So a French dip sandwich can be paired with fries, coleslaw, chips, and fresh salad. I think it goes very well with light, crispy French fries. So the next question you're probably saying, John, is a French dip sandwich healthy? Well,
I don't know.
They have a very high salt and fat content. So I'd recommend eating them occasionally. So you might say to me, John, how many calories, right, is in a French dip? And I would tell you that the average small French dip is about 380. But wait, that's not 100% correct. Because when you go to a restaurant, you're not getting one that's 380 calories. You're getting one that's probably close to 400 to 600 calories. Now, keep in mind that we're talking about the sandwich in the way they get it. Now, when they serve these great big ones, that could be like 1,200 calories. Because we know if you go to Olive Garden and you get that little thin stick, which is so thin with all that olive and juice on it, it's 140 calories for this little stick. So no way in heck is a big baguette only 100 calories. It's got to be a couple hundred calories right there and then a couple hundred for the meat. And that's half. And then you take the other half, you're easily at 800 calories.
And you had the cheese thingy and you had
the cheese,
fries.
that adds another couple hundred calories. And then you had the French fries, that's another 300 calories. Don't forget about the fries.
And we go crazy on fries here in the States. I mean, you go in and order.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
Well,
3 ounces
we don't.
Of French fries is all you and I really need. It's 120 calories for 3 ounces of French fries. And I'm very happy with 3 ounces of French fries.
But John, this is true story. When you start a French fry, you don't end there. It just keeps you motivated to get more and more. When they have a full
No,
plate,
I know that when those French fries are done, I'm done.
now that you do that, but not everybody does. Unfortunately, it's you go to any restaurant, like the most they give you is like this is a sandwich. There's a lot more fries. The fries are just like just too much of them, too many. It's a big quantity. I
So
mean,
it's just like chocolate, right? You like
mm,
chocolate, I like chocolate. You remember
love
when I
chocolate.
did the I'm still, by the way, doing the tour. If you guys want to check that out at believemeachieve.com, check out Orbital Media and check out our food showcase. We are doing 10 delicious cakes around the holiday. We just released the chocolate mousse cake that we sampled. And every week we are rolling out another cake from now to around all the holidays. Very delicious. And I only had small pieces. My tasting plate lasted me over a week. I just had one bite. Really savored the flavor of that.
John, you're disciplined. Some of us cannot just settle for one spoon and one flavor, one taste. We just can't.
I love my sweets, but I would rather have something small and rich than something big and decadent that's going to have 5,000 calories. Because, there are two schools of thought, right? I know you guys will want your sweets, and I like my sweets too. But whether I have one cookie or five cookies, am I any better because I had five cookies? No, I'm probably unhappy because I'm pushing away from the table. I don't know about you. If you go to a diner and you have a piece of cake and I tell them cut it in four slices, they look at me like I have four heads. But
I
I
was
walk
with
away
you
from
when
the
that happened.
I walk away from the table. My stomach is still in my belt line, and I don't feel like I need to lie down. I don't feel bloated. I think the only day that that happens to me, and it's rare, is on Thanksgiving, and I try not to eat a lot then, but that's the one day I think we all kind of eat a little bit too much. So you can do this once in a while. I still don't eat five pieces of pie. I have a half of each. But even the turkey and the natural chemicals from the turkey that make you tired. I would say that if you get in the habit of knowing that you could have a sweet every single day, right? Every single day you could have a sweet, as opposed to say you could only have it once a week. What would you rather have?
Every
Once a
single
week?
day. Every
I'd
single day,
like
a
to have
little
it every
taste.
single day too, but I'd like to have a proportional piece, a taste. When you go to a wedding, do you go drink the whole bottle? I hope you don't. You just have a taste. When you go to a wine tasting, do you get drunk on it? No, you don't. You have a taste, hopefully a taste,
Well,
a
it
little
depends.
sip.
Some people taste everything, and therefore they get a bottle at the
Yeah, but
end.
you don't want to ruin the palate because then you go from one to the other, and then you always have to have your intermezzo this way that your palate's cleaned. But what I'm trying to explain to you is, so I wasn't always like this, HH. I went from 250 calories down to 177. I'm still on the way down to 165. I enjoy being thin. I enjoy how I feel. I also enjoy the fact that I can control how much I eat. The other day, I went to Dave& Buster's and I sampled one of their pizzas. The kids, I know where the big one. I had the kids' pizza. Now that pizza was only 375, but I put it down in my system as 500, just so I had a little extra over. And that's all I had. Now my breakfast for that morning was pretty good. You know what I had in the morning for breakfast? I took two healthy eggs that were not pasteurized, just fresh from the farm, basically the healthy ones. And took that with just a dash of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of milk, and maybe just a little bit of water. Beat that up, put that on my stove, covered it for about 2 minutes, came back, flattened it, put my egg over, put one thing in the toast, and I had myself about a 200 some calorie with my omelet and my bread. One slice of toast is 100 calories. You add the butter, it's like another 25, 30 calories. I just put a light grazing of the butter. You know what you could do if you're ever hungry, you go home and you feel like you want to just eat everything? Go get yourself a tablespoon. We all have tablespoons, right? And go into the peanut butter and just pick up a scoop of peanut butter. And then get some water. About a minute or two, you're not going to be hungry.
Nice tip. now, now
Peanut
we know.
butter curbs our enthusiasm. It curbs our hunger. So I think the reason why people eat too much is the food they eat, and I don't want to name certain foods, but certain foods that start with B and other foods, they they have this natural additive in their food. It should be illegal. And this additive, you know what it does? It makes you want to eat more. See, that's an example of a bad pastry, a bad food, because a proper pastry should keep you content. When I make a creme brulee and it's only an ounce or two, I have no interest in having another one. So you put wholesome ingredients in your food and not that crap that a lot of bakeries put in. You can be done with that. You eat those Twinkies, you eat those devil dogs, which I did many, many years ago. You keep wanting to stuff your face with more. And what happens? You get full. You get a stomach ache. You're like, oh my gosh, where did those 5 pounds come from? Oh, that's all right. I'll have one tomorrow. It's only 5 pounds. It's only another 5 pound, another 5 pounds. Before you know it, you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Oh my gosh, how did I gain 70 pounds? Gee, I was only having a Twinkie a night.
Twinkies. Wow.
Or a devil dog or a cake. I think about the time when I used to have them. And I realized that what I was eating was garbage. It was a cupcake filled. So now if I make a cupcake, I'll inject it with real wholesome ingredients, even if it's sugar, but it's not going to be that crap that they give you. 80% of it's fat.
Well, let's talk about that, and I do want to
Okay.
go. I do want to transit to the business part of this. Some of the stuff you mentioned, but from a nutrition piece and the health, I guess awareness. As a matter of fact, just you're talking about this, so we all love. I mean, when I say all of us grew up. Soda is like the big thing, and everybody was drinking, liters of it, and almost gallons of that stuff. I mean, you just buy whatever brand and you just keep drinking and what it turns out to be, it's high in sodium and sugar, and every time you actually have both combinations you actually get thirstier and you just want to drink more and more, and you just keep drinking, not knowing
Yes.
that that's not helping your thirst. And same concept in food, you got sugar and stuff and it just keeps gets you the cravings, and that's the
That's
problem.
exactly right. Yes.
Well, MSG and stuff, that's another piece that's been challenged by a lot of nutritionists and dietitians and things, and there's a lot of studies, and some companies have tried to remove those things, and then to your point, additives that are in those foods, and they're just not helping. And a lot of our food business industry out there, that's what it is, and especially in the commercial world, it's just what it is. It's unfortunate, but again, but what I love about what you said, John, in your formula is that you indulge in everything you crave, but you know your limit. You know how to actually make it look good, feel good, and taste good without the impact. And that's actually a great, because for people sometimes, we do different shows here. We do the nutrition channel, we do the eye health channel, the fitness, and a lot those things always come up in discussion, like, well, how can I do this diet, this, that. I mean, I've talked to a lot of dietitians and nutritionists, folks, and what they say that you can indulge in a lot of things, and enjoy in moderation, and you can have these little treats every now and then, but you need to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, and not taking the wrong stuff, of course.
Exactly. And the biggest thing I could tell you if you're scared and you're on the fence,
Mm.
don't go on a diet. See, that's the first thing. Don't go on a diet. What you're going to do is just change the quantities you're eating. You're not dieting. You're just changing the quantities and even some of the food you're eating. Dieting would mean you're going to stop eating. You're not stopping. You can still have that candy bar. You can still have that granola bar. You can still have that wonderful thing that you love that's so gooey and terrible for you. You can still have it. All right.
Whatever that
It's
is.
going to make you slow and sluggish, but you can still have it. But then we got to factor in, what are you going to do to have that? I'll give you an example. Let's say it's the holiday time, and I know I want some extra sweets, right? Maybe we do. I know that I'm going to incorporate more exercise. Now, I'm not talking going to the gym. I'm talking about just going for a walk. Knowing that, let's say you want your Krispy Kreme donut, okay? You want that whole Krispy Kreme donut. You don't want to just eat the one fourth like I did, because that one fourth, okay, is about 20 minutes of walking. So you want to eat that whole Krispy Kreme donut. You better be prepared to walk for 90 minutes.
I remember that you did. You had your crispy last time.
Yes, I had over 4 days. One
Yeah.
fourth,
Well,
one fourth, one fourth, one fourth. And you
again,
know what? It didn't make an impact to my body, as you can see at all.
you have the discipline, and today, I mean, people watching right now or listening anytime as the show plays in the air, over time. If someone watches this and listens to it, I mean, you have to realize that it took some work from John to get to this level of real scrutiny and discipline, and it works. I mean, he does this for a living. He goes out, samples things on a day-to-day basis, but he still maintains.
Yeah, even
And
when I did the cupcake day, ladies and gentlemen, I took a fork and I said, there's no point. You guys know that I joke. I said, I went from 250 counts. I said, I'm just going to have a bite of this cupcake, but I'm not going to bite. I'm going to take this way. Everybody else wants a bite. They can have one. I'm going to take just a spoonful. Okay. Try that one. Got enough samples so I know what it's like. And I think that's where, so I know which one I like, and you can kind of know what you like. Now, there are going to be times when you have food. Now, if you're really looking to kind of fill yourself, have popcorn. Okay. If you're a person that's trying to, like if you're like, oh my gosh, well, drink water too. Drink water, and that will fill you up. Okay. Have celery, have other fruits. They'll fill you up. You can also take some fiber. Fiber will fill you up. If you really are having a challenge, eat cereal. Cereal will fill you up.
well, some people argue that cereal is not real food. I mean, there's, that we've been conditioned on TV, like the Breakfast of Champion and things like that, but really, it's not
It
healthy.
depends on what cereal you eat. I like to eat Honey Bunches of Oats.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a good cereal. It doesn't have the crap. Even the Post Raisin Bran, which we used to like when we were kids, worse cereal for you. Had raisins in it. Everything else was sugar in the darn bowl.
Well, speaking of sugar, we did have a show with Mike Collins, the sugar-free man, and we talked about, folks, that's like the poison of life, and unfortunately, you're not supposed to have a lot of that in your body. And again, we're not putting down, the industry, but it is something that we need to be mindful. A lot of stuff we eat has sugar, and that we just have to be
Sugar
mindful of
and
that.
and salt.
Uh, you can't live with them, and those real
I might have lost your
that
audio
put
here a
some
little
sugar
bit.
in
I
your
don't know if
diet.
you
And
if
I'm
you
talking
there
natural
you're back.
stuff, not the No, no, I hear you.
Sugar and salt. So just understanding
You're
your
good.
moderation. What's that? Are you
No, I
back?
hear you loud and
Okay.
clear.
Oh, okay. No, you froze on me for a minute. So yeah, it's knowing what that is. And when I go to have an omelet, I make myself an omelet with the healthy eggs. Now, if I want another omelet, I could make it with just the egg whites. And I say, oh, gee, that's it.
Mhm.
But I could still put in my protein if I want to put in my meat or my bacon. Now, here's what else I do. I have a George Foreman grill. And when I do what I'm doing, I take it, and people think I'm nuts. I take the paper towels and I soak up the remaining grease. Everything else is drained off. And I have a pretty healthy um, burger or meal. So I think a lot of times people get accustomed to eating the fat. But what I found when you eat the fat is the fat actually makes you tired. The fat
Oh,
makes you tired. I've had some times where I'll have a craving. I had a good breakfast. I'm like, you know what? I want an ice cream cone. Okay, I'll get myself an ice cream cone. That's my lunch. I'll get myself a larger one. I'll get myself a medium because I'm going to have as my lunch. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of make choices. You substitute things.
yeah, but John, again, we're talking. That's you. Now,
Mhm.
people all over the world have different, approach to food, and age also can make a difference. Sometimes you feel that your body is invincible, and you'll be able to take care of anything, and when it's all good. But that's the challenge. Not everybody is made the same way, and yet the problems are the same for everyone. It's just that some people don't see them, or they think that they it's not affecting them because they don't see immediate problems with whatever they input in their body. But the fact of the matter is, you can do this. Some people can't, and some people actually have to can almost weed out themselves from some of these processes that have been conditioned to. And so it is a challenge for some, but the idea is that it's feasible, and you are a true example, a true person that they can look at and talk to. And through the show, I mean, you've actually stated this multiple times about how you went from a certain way to where you are today, and I've seen the difference. As a matter of fact, your old picture that we have, and you now are
Yeah,
two
yeah.
different bodies, and it's just something you feel good about. And again, this is about you being healthy and feeling good for a long time, as long as you live. Because that's the other thing. We can live and indulge our life in a particular moment, and then eventually you get all these problems that you might have issues in the rest of your life.
You make a choice right now. You might say, John, I can't do this. I can't do this. So first of all, if you put the word can't in your vocabulary, you're already done. Okay. So instead of putting that word in there, say I can. And also say, I'm doing this because I'm doing this because of my grandkids. I'm doing this because I want to be healthy. I'm doing this for my spouse, my wife, my significant other. I'm doing this so that I can have a rich life. So there's two things in life, right? You can either live, which hopefully everybody does, but I don't want to live, I want to thrive.
Enjoy life.
Thrive. Thrive with passion.
Mm.
That means that I enjoy every moment of my life. Okay. And people say to me, John, you shouldn't do that at your age. I said, well, there's no one says I can't do that. And so I think the point is people are conditioned like, well, this year, this age, this time you shouldn't do that. They do that because that's how they are. Just by losing this weight, I've gained so much more energy in my life. Okay. Something as simple as doing my shows at night and going to bed. I'm not tired, HH. Before this was like, oh, how am I going to do this? Now you still get tired if you're on your feet for 100 hours, right? But my point is that when your body gets used to you treating it a certain way, just like your car, if you put the right oil in your car, the synthetic oil, it's going to treat you a certain way, right? If you don't put the synthetic oil in your car, well, then the pistons aren't going to work as well. They may not be as effective in burning gas. So the same thing with your body. Your body has an adaptability level. And so the more you eat healthier, the more, I don't want to say you can cheat, but the more you have the ability that you can go off once in a while because your body is being efficient. Think of it like this: air conditioners run on an RF factor. If you have the most efficient air conditioning system, all right, and it's working great, and you open a window, it's not going to make a big difference, is it? But if I have an air conditioning system that's not operating as high, I have an RF factor, and I open a window, oh, geez, yeah, you can't do this. The air conditioner is so old, it's out of Fredo, because it's already not the standard. So why do we want to operate in a world where our body is not at the highest standard it can be at? See, going to a doctor, in all due respect, that doesn't help you have a better life. Okay. What that does is scare you to figuring out you better wake up. If you need to go to a doctor to figure out that you need to have a better life, well, that's a problem right there. I understand you have to go for certain issues. I get that. But when you're healthier, my doctor always teases me, and they're also a client of mine. Yeah, John, he says we can't make money off of you. I said, why not? He says because you're one of these idiots that's always healthy. I said, what do you mean? He's like you just you know what to do. You know what to. I mean, you know how to take care of yourself. I said, yeah, but there's never. They don't. They come here just they come here when. I'll give you an example. The other day, I was helping one of my clients. We were changing a TV. Okay, and this TV had made a tiny cut in my finger. Now, a cut deep enough that it was bleeding, right? So, not one that you could just hold and you could stop. So, what would you do when that happens? Oh my gosh, I better rush to the hospital, better get stitches. No. What do you do when that happens? What would our viewers do if that happened? Panic, right? Oh my gosh, I'm
Probably.
bleeding. Or maybe they put it under the sink for a while. and they hope it's going to stop bleeding. But you know what?
Put pressure.
It's not going to stop bleeding. You know what you need to do? First, you're going to clean the cutout, make sure it's all clean, all that, and then raise your arm. Get it above your heart, okay? Keep it above your heart. Do what you got to do with this hand. Leave it out there for a few minutes. You won't get that tired, and you'll start to notice it'll clot. If you have a healthy body, your blood will clot within a minute or two. Having a body that can clot is very good for the immune system, obviously. But I think the problem with a lot of people is they become codependent on their doctors. Okay. Not dependent, codependent. Oh my gosh. I just went outside, or Justin just got a cold. Oh my gosh, we better go to the doctor. He just sneezed once. Yeah, we better get him to the doctor. He sneezed once. Oh my gosh. I hate to think what happened if he sneezes twice. If he sneezes 3 times, you better rush him to the emergency room. Well, yeah, maybe. We're laughing about this, but there are some parents that act like this, and people that have this hypochondriatic attitude where, oh my gosh, I must have that. Oh, did you see what that was on the news? Oh my God, I bet I have that skin condition. Oh my God, I bet that's happening in my eye. Like, you watch too much news, and then you try to believe that that's you because you believe that that's wrong with you. And you psych yourself out that you believe you have that. You're starting to create symptoms and you don't. It's like, it's a mess. So I think the problem that happens with a lot of people in health is that not that they don't want to be healthy, it's that they get confused, number one, and they get too inundated with medicine. I'm one of these holistic people. Okay. Now, have I never taken medicine in my life? I've taken it once, a couple times, but I'm one of those people that does not take medicine because I believe the body can be healed naturally. Everything that's brought on by our body can be healed by our body. Now, you've got to have a healthy immune system, but a lot of people don't believe that. And they believe that the only way they can stay healthy is to be in the doctor's office every 90 days or to be in the hospital at least once a year. This way they make sure they're going to live. No.
So John, I want to just pose in there
Yeah.
because there's, I mean, obviously we're talking into healthcare
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
or sick care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depends how you
Well,
look at
kind of.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So again, that's my world,
Oh,
my other
okay.
world.
Sorry.
No, I'm not a doctor, but I'm in the insurance and the payer side. But I mean, this whole network started based on the iHealth Radio and the iHealth channel. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but you bring in a great point about, first of all, you got to work on the body, the immune system, because that's
Yes.
the main important everything. And
Yes.
and the other thing is, instead of you know living a life where you sick, then you go and seek help because you're sick or you feel sick, you can be ahead of the game and prevent the stuff. And
Proactive.
prevention,
Proactive.
proactive, exactly. So preventative care and or preventative lifestyle can deter from you actually winding up at an ER or a hospital stay. And I think that's the biggest piece. And believe me,
Absolutely.
John, it's funny because when I started in the industry 28 years ago, that was like, I'm on a true story. The world of Medicaid, as you know, so Medicaid
Yep.
is this program that is subsidized by federal, but
Yep.
administered
Yep.
by the state, and it takes money from the government. And people always complain, oh, there's people on Medicaid, whatever. Anyway, so when I started in this business, back in the days, that was like the demonstration project in New York City where they were testing a mandated state of anyone that applies to get Medicaid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when we started talking, there were only a few categories that were actually applicable and under that particular program to qualify. And so when I used to go to these people and talk to them about the program, like, hey, you need to be on this plan, they said, why would I give you my Medicaid card? I can go anywhere I want. And then we asked them, like, well, where do you go for care? Well, whenever I have, I feel something, I'm just at the ER. And that was the actual mentality at the time. Like, and a lot of people to date, they still live in the concept, I don't go to the doctor, I don't do anything, but when I'm sick, I'm in the hospital. That's the first thing they do. And they don't do all the preventative or the proactive stuff that you
Exactly.
talked about, which is fitness, diet, eating, well-being, wellness, the whole nine, taking care of your vitamins, all the stuff, just walking sometimes, fresh air, whatever, not smoking, not drinking excessively, all that stuff. And then also you can do some things such as preventative care when you go to your primary doctor, once a year and just do a checkup, make sure that everything is still good. And then basically just like a tune up, right? You just make sure that everything is working nice and you keep up with it. You never actually wind up in a hospital or tough situation that point.
Because you're looking for the signs. I mean, one of the best ones is, have you ever gotten a pain in your heart? Have you ever, have you ever gotten some kind of pain in your heart? We've all probably gotten something. Now, when I was 250 pounds, I would get these and even get them more. And you think, oh, gee, it's something. It's like, I got to just rest. But what was causing that problem? What was causing that problem was my weight. Now, this never became a medical issue. Nobody ever told me I didn't, but I knew, okay, that it was affecting my heart. So when I sensed that, and when this whole thing of the stupid iPhone, I said, wait a minute. I said, you know what? The signals are getting louder in my heart. I'm starting to feel them a little more. And I said, you know what? I said, the way I'm living my lifestyle can't be healthy. No one's telling me this, but let's try living a healthier lifestyle and let's just see if the bells go away or they get softer. Do you know what happened?
It
The
did.
bells stopped ringing.
Yep.
So when you become in congruence or in alignment, we talk about the universe, but in alignment with your body just kind of works like a natural ecosystem, like a fountain, right? You think about the natural arcade of rain, right? And rain starts by precipitation that comes up through the clouds, and then it kind of fills up, and then it just naturally comes down, and then that process starts over and over again. So our body has cycles. One cycle is eating, and a lot of people say to me, John, I've always got to burn fat, and I have to tell you, this isn't a show about losing weight, but you don't want to always burn fat. You see, you want to alternate between burning fat and burning carbs. Because when you alternate back and forth, you exercise the muscles in your digestive system, as opposed to just staying on fat burning. And so they don't teach this stuff in school. The doctor doesn't teach this stuff. This is things that people learn when they get into trouble, when they're rushed to the hospital, because they're not taking life in the most holistic sense that they can. What else did I do many years ago? I gave up soda. Now that happened because a buddy of mine said to me, he says, I'll make you a bet. I said, okay, fine, maybe a bet, gentleman's bet, that you can never give soda. And came back a month later, I came back and I said, you remember that bet? He says, yeah. I said, well, I guess you're going to be buying me season tickets this year, aren't you? He said, what do you mean? I said, I haven't had a glass of soda. No way. So I want row 120. I want section 121. I would like seats 109 and 110. No way. Tonight you're gonna have soda. I'm like, nope. That was a very expensive lesson for him. Because then he says to me, he says, I bet you couldn't, I bet you you'll go back on sodas. I said, not $1 billion will get me to get back on soda. And I'll tell you why. Take a penny. Take Coca-Cola, take Pepsi. I don't care what you take. Just take one of those dark sodas and put that penny in that soda for 5 to 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Take a
Be
spoon.
shiny.
Take that out. Oh, it's so shiny.
Mhm.
You're doing that to the insides of your body.
I would not disagree, and I'll give you one more, John.
Sure.
Just something for people. Since today it happened to be turned into like a health and diet show today, but it's all good. But really, one thing that happened to me personally again was a kidney stone.
Okay.
And it turned out that I've had a nice career, Pat, with soda. I used to love soda and drank a lot of it,
Okay.
and that stuff eventually does affect you. And one of the things that the doctor said that was one of the main reasons I kind of built up that stone. And
Soda, soda,
again,
soda.
because of, well, I mean, many factors, but
Yeah.
the constant drinking of soda puts this protein whatever, and then it kind of converts into these little rocks. And that rock was actually a small little pebble. It looks like one of those pepper, you
But
know
that could
uh
be painful. Be very painful.
Bro, it was not just painful. There was no pain that actually, I mean, again, it is, I heard this, that it's the closest thing to women giving birth, but I cannot talk about that because I didn't experience that, but I can tell you how it felt when I was actually in pain. There is nothing on this earth that could change your do anything for you, because even morphine didn't do anything. I was in the hospital. They dripped me with morphine and I was still in pain. Your left, your right, you're up, you're down, you're just kind of jumpy. There's nothing you can do about it. And until that thing goes, there's nothing they can do for you.
You have
Now,
to either let it pass or whatever's going to happen. Hopefully, it'll pass. Hopefully, but
well, if it's big enough, they are procedures and they they
they can
they
take it out.
destroy it, whatever. But it was small enough.
Small enough.
It was it was not small. I mean, literally, because eventually, not to be graphic, but that thing did pass, and they give you a
Yep.
filter, and
Yep.
you give it to the lab, and it looked like a pepper. I mean, just one of those pepper seeds, and that is like coming through your nice little capillaries. It was
Yeah.
not really fun coming from the kidney out, and every time it moves, it's just atrocious. So again, from my personal experience, I would not recommend that, and I tell my kids the same thing: please don't do it. And again, I cannot force people not to drink what they want. Some people say I'm going to live my life the way I want it, and that's fine, fair. But only when you have these little moments of pain, and then you realize, ouch, this is not good. To your point, you gained weight. I gained weight at a point, and I know what it feels like. It's not fun,
I
having
got
that pain.
off the soda. The soda didn't do a big damage like this. The soda got me to lose, a while back, got me to lose 10 pounds.
When you
Okay.
took it off, you
A
mean?
long time ago.
You mean when you stopped?
Before the 250, even before that, it got me to lose 10 pounds when I stopped soda. But and then I got used to the water and I would do filtered water, everything. And that was great. But I think with our society being conditioned with soda and stuff like that. Yep, water's great. Yep, I love my water.
That's a big
I
one.
think I think the whole point is it's a marketing and the way that they tell people, because the only soda I will have now might be a diet ginger ale. Like sometimes your stomach, you'll have like a little, like a tiny bit, not to drink it, but just a little bit. And I remember going to a party a few weeks ago, and they had the only thing they had just to change the taste was a little soda. So I took a tiny bit like that because they had. I just wanted to because it was hot. I just wanted they didn't have any water, so I just took a little tiny. I was like, "Oh, this stuff's like poison. Oh, I can't drink this stuff." I was almost ready to spit it out. And that's how my body has gotten that it repels soda.
And your body would do that eventually when you give up those things, whether sugar or anything. You would not like them anymore when you stop taking them. It's like a drug addiction that's gone. No more.
Exactly right. And I think, and people say to me, John, why didn't you ever smoke? And I'll tell you the quick story on this, and then I want to get off to another story. But the reason I never smoked because oh gee, everybody smokes, right? Everybody does that. My grandfather on my that would be my dad's side, okay, that would have been John C. Morley, actually the second. My great grandfather I never met; he would have been the first. So he used to smoke a couple packs a day. When I was born, he wasn't smoking, but when I was in second grade, he would always be coughing. He said, "Oh, well, Grandpa used to smoke, and he doesn't smoke anymore. He smoked. He gave it up. He gave it up. Right when you were born, because he knew it wasn't a good habit to have around you." Okay, so that was good. He did that, and he was great. But in my second year, I remember Thanksgiving. I remember it vividly. HH, just to this day. I remember going to the hospital, and it was Thanksgiving Eve. Okay, and so we had been going back and forth to the hospital. I wanted to see Grandpa. Finally, got to see him. They let me see then. Then it was Thanksgiving night. Okay, the night of Thanksgiving, and I wanted to go see him. And visiting hours were going to be over soon. And my grandma's like, "Oh no, 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 no! You can't see him now." Okay, well later, later. And so I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm watching some stupid cartoons, and time just passed, and they came down and they said, I said, "I said, Grandpa, oh, well, Grandpa wanted to give this to you." I said, "What's that?" He wanted to give you this little turkey. I said, "Oh, how nice." Yeah, it was on his chocolate cupcake. I said, "Oh, that's great." I said, "Can I go see him now? Can I go see him now, please? Can I go tell thank you to him?" Well, you can't right now. He's sleeping. All right. Well, we'll wait. We'll wait. We'll wait. We'll wait. And we'll go after that, and then we'll go home, and then we can finish our turkey dinner. Yeah, he's gonna be sleeping for a little while. All right. Well, maybe we can get something here, and we'll just wait. He'll wake up in a little bit, right? So I'm waiting, and then a little while, they told me that he went to a farm. I said, "Well, all right. Well, Grandpa liked farms. He'll be back. He always liked to look at the animals. What farm did he go to?" And I'm in third grade. And so finally, my dad's like saying to my grandmother, "I think you should tell him." Yeah, he she told me he went to the farm. I know. He'll be back. Trust me, if he liked this cupcake, he'll be back for more food. And so I said, "I want to go see Grandpa." I says, and I was, "I'm going to see Grandpa." He said, "You can't." I said, "Why can't I go see Grandpa?" Because Grandpa's not here. I said, "I know. Grandma told me you went to the farm." Well, that's just an expression. A what? Um, Grandpa had lung cancer and he died. And I just went silent. I cried. And all I kept remembering after the funeral is that I hate smokers. I don't want to be around smokers. I don't want to smoke. So at that time, people were still smoking in funeral homes and stuff like that. And even his funeral, there were people smoking in the one room, and I was like, I can't be around these people. And I just was very emphatic. Lost some friends because I told them I can't hang around you if you're going to smoke. Like I can't do it. And so that's why I never smoked. Same thing with drugs. I said, why would I want to harm my body? Why would I want to hurt it? Why wouldn't I want to give it the best fuel? And then I said to myself years ago, I said, why am I why am I still hurting my body? Why am I giving it the best chance it can have? Could still have some stuff, but I still need to be a little more concerned about what I eat. Not to the point where I can't eat anything, but so that kind of did something for me. But speaking about eating, I want to turn the table here for a minute. Do you know what yesterday was?
Mm-mm.
Yesterday was November 13th.
I know, but what day was it? That's a good. It was
What
Sunday.
national day was November? I know you know because you watched my videos, but you're probably not saying anything. Yesterday was National World Kindness Day.
Ain't that something? Huh? It should be every day.
So, what is National World Kindness Day? Well, so it's celebrated on November 13th every year. Okay, it actually started, was it 1997, 25 years ago? Started because some restaurants realized the world wasn't being kind to others, and they adopted the movement. 1970 called the World Kindness Movement that spanned over 28 countries. Pretty cool, right? So, what
Yep.
did I do for National World Kindness Day? I made myself a nice omelet. And after that, I said, I'm going to go to some of these fast food restaurants that I don't go to. And I'm going to get in line. And I'm just going to pay for the person behind me. And I'm going to tell the person at the window to just tell them when they come up to just pass it on to the next car or someone else that needs it. There were some restaurants that didn't even have a line. So I went inside and I waited for a car. And I'm like, oh, pay for that car that just came in. Did that at McDonald's, did that at Starbucks, places I don't go. Did that at two McDonald's, a Burger King, a Starbucks. And it was interesting. Only one restaurant that I went to, it was the Starbucks. It was the only restaurant, the place that I went to, that the staff member said to me, gee, that's a really nice thing you're doing. Thank you. Not one other worker, again, I didn't do it for that reason, stopped to even be grateful that someone else was helping another human being.
Sad.
There was one order. I was at one restaurant and I didn't even ask what it was. You thought you're paying for coffee or you didn't know what it was. So one restaurant, and I said to myself, whatever it is, I'm gonna pay. I'm not like saying it's only be $1. Like I'm gonna whatever it is, I'm gonna pay for it. And so guy comes back. He says, "Dude," he says, "This is the order." I said, "What do they get?" He says, "It's right here." He said, "It's X dollars." Whatever. So, you sure you want to do it? I said, "Yeah, it's fine." Okay, because they're thinking you're only going to pay $3 or $4. And I said, "Whatever it is, whatever it's meant to be, I'll, I'll do it."
Hmm.
And I didn't record a series of videos, not to tout me or anything like that, but to hopefully get a movement going that would allow people to just do something nice for someone, buy them a cup of coffee, hold the door open, buy them a breakfast, put some money in a digital or a parking meter, um, do something nice. Maybe it's at a store and somebody needed kids' clothing or they needed kids' undergarment. Buy them if you see them having a struggle. Buy it for them. And but I think the best way to do it is when nobody knows you're doing it. So when you go through a drive-through line and they don't actually know that you're doing it, they just know somebody did it. And I think that's neat when there's that element of mystery there. And when someone tells you they don't want anything for it, all they want you to do is pass it on to someone else. A lot of people thought I was insane, I was nuts, I was crazy. I started at 11 o'clock in the morning and I ended about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
And I covered about 4 or 5 restaurants. It took time because I didn't want to just do the same restaurant. I wanted to go to different ones and I looked for busy ones. And then I went in there and I would go right in. I would kind of barge the line. And the guy's like, he's like, "I'm here first." I said, I understand. I said, I'm not here to order food. And I said, "Excuse me." I said, "The next car in line, whoever it is, just pay for it on my card." And the guy just looked at me. First, he's pissed at me because I'm cutting the line. I'm like, "I just want to catch the next car." And he just looks at me with his jaw open. I get the car back. I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And he just like is like almost like a statue as I'm walking away.
Shock time.
And I
Uh,
think when you can do something like that, I've said this before, that's when the magic happens. The magic happens, or the magic is real when you can rise above all this BS, all this nonsense. I shared my video with the community, which is a very well off community. And I didn't do it to brag. I did it because I wanted them to do something. Now, nobody flagged my post as being, anything bad because I posted like 5, 6, 7 times with different things, hoping that maybe they would do it. But a lot of people in our community are very selfish themselves and they wouldn't buy a cup of coffee if you were dying. And I just posted and I said, "Isn't it sad that we all have so much here and we can't even give $1 to buy someone a cup of coffee? Isn't that sad?"
listen, John. I mean, first of all, thank you for bringing that to the show today and doing it because kindness is something that's being almost missed these days, and not everybody is doing some of it. And I mean, there are people that are doing great jobs out there, great work. But to your point, it shouldn't be one day; it should be every day. And there's always somebody that needs something, and you never know when you come across that. And a small gesture does not, require a lot. And to your point, it could be $1, just opening the door, smiling at somebody can be a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You could be at a restaurant, for example,
yep,
and maybe you see there's a family, and maybe you see that they might be like, you see that they're like really watching on the menu, like they're trying to order the cheapest thing. You've seen families like that. And you could just go out and say, "You know what? That table in the back, do me a favor, just pick up their tab for me." And I think it's kind of rewarding.
You can make somebody's day.
I think it's rewarding though, HH, when they don't know that you did it.
That's even better, much sweeter because even for you, I mean, when you do that, it's just when you do good, it just has a super feeling. I mean, it's just something that rewarding within, and then of course, the impact is another. So,
So the one person said to me, John, he says, well, if you really want to do good, you should buy everybody's food all day long.
why don't you contribute? That would be the answer.
What's that?
I said, why don't you contribute to them? That's what I would say to them.
That's a lot of money. You're probably talking somewhere around $10,000 is my
Yeah,
guess with these fast food places.
no. So I asked the guy, why don't you do that? Well, it's funny that people have that kind of response. If to your point, it's 10,000. If there are 10,000 people, that's $1 each. I mean, it's all numbers, right? We can play that card any time, any way we want. But if everybody does it, it's not a lot. As a matter of
And,
fact,
and you think that that's like a lot of times, even with the holidays or COVID, we had a local hospital. And being a first responder, I got some pizzas brought over to them. And, it was a nice thing to do stuff like that. I just think it's nice to do things now that COVID's kind of gone in remission, I'll say, to just do something and not expect anything from it. A lot of times people do it and then they expect something, right? Because if you notice on all my videos, like hey, I'm John C. Morley and I create content for your business. The one thing I didn't do that entire day that I shot, not my other videos, but just those give back videos.
mm.
I just say I'm John. I didn't say I create content for your business. I didn't tag anything about me or my business. I just said I'm John, and I'm hoping you guys will help me with my mission.
Well, you'll find a lot of receptive people, but again, not that to your point. Some people didn't even know that that was the day, right? Again, because kindness is almost missing these days, and not everybody is kind these days to one another. I think it's an art
I
that's
think
lost.
a good way to do it, and I thought about how to do this next year, is maybe to get businesses to help sponsor it. So if let's say I want to do Acts of Kindness Day, and I know it costs $10,000, then maybe every hour I have a sponsor.
And they would be glad to do that. I mean, we could do it with you could do it with supermarkets. By the way, I've done something similar in the past where we had people support these things and these events and opportunities in the community, and there are a lot of businesses that would be more than willing to do it. With that, they don't even need like the sponsorship or this is brought to you by this and the other. They do it because they want to give back to the community, and so there's always opportunities that way. Again, you have a whole year, so maybe there's something we can do. I mean, we can promote
I
it.
think I was thinking about it before, how I was going to do that, but maybe I don't need to come up with the 10,000. Maybe it's just a matter of just getting people. If I got, like a business and each of them gave $1,000 and they would be responsible for this hour and that hour or whatever, or something like that. But I'd have to get the true numbers. The restaurants don't always want to share that, but I have to get the true numbers of what a typical day costs.
Well,
I'd
it
have to
depends
get
what restaurant, what type of restaurant. I mean,
fast
if you
food,
go to
fast
yeah,
food.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, well, also depends where. I mean, some people come in from the dollar menu. I mean, it's not going to be a lot. Some people come in for the,
But that's
10,
okay. That's
yeah,
okay. It could be Wendy's. It could be, like the one meal I had was $28.
yeah. I'm saying so.
Okay.
Some depends what the order
You
is. Yeah.
know, I think, another thing that's good to do is, and I know we're almost out of time, is a lady, for example, maybe she's pregnant, maybe she's having a challenge with her car, and you see that she only puts $5 in her car. And you go to the convenience store and say, hey, that lady with the gray Plymouth out there? Yeah, do me a favor. Would you just fill up her car, whatever she needs, like fill her whole tank up, like, just put it on my car. Don't tell her I did it. Just put it on her car and then
On the house.
on the house. Yeah. Well, you could say there was a gentleman that was here and he did it to you. You don't have to say there was a guy that was here recently and he wanted to pick it up for you. And then you give him the ticket and the receipt. And here's your receipt. He's like, but it's all paid. It's zeros. It's all paid for. There's someone else paid for your tank. And to see that joy in their face, I've even got the idea for the name. I think I want to launch a website too, HH. I just got this idea called Random Acts of Kindness.
Ooh,
And it's
powerful.
one day a year that we celebrate it, but I think it should be every single day.
I
that
agree.
somebody could
Well,
do something random every day.
I agree. I mean, it's a big thing. And by the way, we do have the platforms to promote it enough so people can actually get a little excitement about it, and that would be perfect. I mean, it's just sharing it out there, sharing the
Just
idea
sharing it, but
itself.
imagine, just imagine. And the one thing I wanted to happen, it didn't happen. I wanted our local news station to cover it, not for me. I wanted them to cover it so that it could make it really big, but it
Well,
fell on deaf ears.
hopefully, we'll fill out ourselves. I mean, we do have two networks that we can actually put together here and build up on the momentum, and just spread the word out there. And to your point, if you can do something for the next year, and we can build from there, I mean,
I think
I'd
that's
be
what I'm
more
gonna do.
happy.
I'm gonna launch a site, Random Acts of Kindness, and the whole idea is, let's catch somebody doing something good.
Hey, listen, that would be the challenge, folks. You're watching, you're listening. Doesn't matter when, where. This is it. Hey, do something kind, and if or share that value with us and with
Kind
John
of like
specifically.
candid camera, but more like random camera.
Hey, listen, it's been done, and I've seen some people have done actually that on social media. I've seen them. They come up and to someone and they ask, they pretend that they don't have money, and the ones that you least expect are the ones who actually come to help, only to find out these people didn't need them.
I'm not going to tell you the store, but I had a store, and I was going in there just to go in there, and the 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 guy, I went in there, and I wanted to see the store's reaction. So I told him, this is all I have. Okay. And I took the sandwich at the price they were going to give me. At the end of the meal, they didn't charge me one penny. I said, that's not what I was going for. The next day, I returned to the store and I said, you were so kind to me that I want to pay for not only the sandwich, but I want to tip each of you for your kindness. See, that's the kind of thing. See, I think, though, I mean, we have those stories, but they just don't circulate enough.
Well, listen, if you create a website that has that, I mean, I guarantee you're gonna get a lot of content, especially if we promote it. I mean, the least I
I
could
think
do,
that's gonna
yeah.
be something I just gave myself another project, like I have nothing to do. I think that's
Nah,
gonna be something
that's
we're
a
gonna
good one.
do. Yeah, well, we have Jason Academy launching in January, which is another big one, but, Random Acts, I think it'll be ra I have to see if that word's available. Random Acts of Kindness. We actually made a business card up for Random Acts of Kindness. We did it for one day, but I think if we could just get people to thinking about it, you know what I'm saying?
I would
I think that
suggest
would just what's that?
throw it on TikTok, man. That should go viral.
Yeah?
Literally, yeah. Join the movement. Random acts of of kindness every day. Just show your kindness. That's it. And I think people will buy into it. There are people are out there want to do good things. They just don't know sometimes what to do, and it
Right,
could be
they don't know
anything.
what to do, and sometimes, people, and this is where I'm gonna end this on. There are people out there that, you give, you give, you give, and you give, right? But then unfortunately, you feel drained. We might have talked about this before. And the reason you feel drained is the person is using you, and it's not a two-way street. So whenever you're being used, you can feel the energy being pulled out of you. When it's a two-way street, you should feel energized. And I don't tell you to be nasty, those people that are using you. I don't tell you to be nasty to anybody. But what I do tell you to do is to respect and take care of yourself. So when you have somebody that's abusing you, you can just simply not communicate with that person anymore or not be around that person anymore. And the quick story I'll tell you is this: I had a person that they always wanted to to do the right thing, and they only wanted to do it as long as it was making them money. Person called me up and said, John, how's XYZ going? I said, you know what? It's going really well. I said, I'm right now focused on something. Oh, yeah. What are you focused on? I'm focused on working with people and companies that believe in my value and my mission and that want to help where I'm going. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I say, I get very tired in this world of people that tell me they're busy. You've heard me say this before. They're not busy. They're preoccupied in doing things that are supposedly of a higher priority than you are at the moment. He said, John, that's just how it is, a doggy dog world. I said, you know what? I don't like it. Well, that's just the way it is. I said, yeah. And I don't have to accept it. Well, yeah. I said, yeah, I don't have to accept it. And if people don't fall into what I want, I can say goodbye.
Sayonara.
He said, well, you can't. I said, yeah, I can. Yeah, but you don't want. I said, yeah, I can. Because to be in my company and to work with somebody, I'm realizing it's a privilege not to be touting my own horn, but to be with somebody and to have them in your life, whatever capacity. We need to realize that other people are here for the mutual benefit of helping each other become better versions of ourselves. And the minute that we assume for a moment that we're better than anybody and that I'm only going to be available for you when you're bringing me $10 million, you see, that's the wrong attitude. But unfortunately, it's an attitude that many people are still adopting today. So you as a person can make a choice. It's not an easy choice. A lonely road is lonely. But I can tell you this, when you're on a lonely road and you have your values and you have your morals and you have what you believe in and you uphold those with everything, every core, every cell, every fiber, every molecule, every atom in your body, you know what's going to happen? You're going to get to the end of the trail or halfway into the trail and people are like, oh, can I walk with you? And you're going to say, well, why should I let you walk with me now? You didn't want to walk with me when I wasn't even ready to start. So I think we got to be not nasty, but we got to realize that there's still going to be people that are going to be opportunists. And if we're cognizant and wise of that fact, people are going to be a lot less nasty to you and saying, well, look, I'm too busy. And I tell people right off the bat, if you're busy, I'm glad you're so busy with more important things. I get it. If your life ever loosens up, because I know you're busy with the kids, your wife. I mean, I know you probably don't have time to take a breath. If you ever happen to have 30 or 40 seconds, reach out to me. But I don't want to, try to outstage your life because it sounds like you got more important things than me. And again, I don't say that to be nasty. I say that because each and every one of you has a value. Recognize your value and celebrate it because others will once you start to know that you have the value. If you think you're not worthy, guess what? Everyone else is going to say you're not worthy. But when you believe you're worthy, other people are going to be knocking the door down just to want to shake your hand. And with that, I'll wrap.
And I don't think we need to add anything else. That was powerful, man. Thank you. Um, well, again, folks, there you have it. This concludes our live for today, and again, as you know, this show is unique because we don't know what we're going to discuss until we're in the
Nope.
show,
Nope.
and it just take its own. It has its own mind, and it just turned out to be a powerful one. And we talked about mostly nutrition, health, and just different lifestyle and habits. But it's all good, and every one of those shows, there's some information that may be picked up. And John is just a wealth of knowledge, and so hey, let's tap into that mojo there. I love it. So
It was a great show. So when you see somebody next time that just needs a little bit of help, reach in your pocket and do like the guy did in Christmas Shoes. You all know Christmas Shoes, right? He wanted to buy. I won't sing you the song or make you sad, but his mom was going to die tonight, as he said to meet Jesus tonight, and he wanted to look the best that he could, and he wanted to get her these shoes, these Christmas shoes. But when he went up to the cashier said, "Son, there's not enough here." He shook his head frantically. And he said, "What am I going to do? Mama made Christmas good at our house. Most years we just did without. How am I supposed to buy her these Christmas shoes?" And he talked to the guy in the line, and the guy in the line came back, not knowing what to do. He's like, "So I laid the money down. I just had to help him out." I never forgot the look on his face when he said that Mama's gonna look so great. "Sir, I want to buy these shoes for my mama, please. It's Christmas Eve, and these shoes are just her size. So I ask you, if there's a Christmas moment, or a holiday moment, or a moment when you think you might be able to just step in and help someone, that dollar, that five, or that 10, which you have plenty of, might make the difference in someone's life."
Amen to that, man. The holidays are here, and it's a beautiful time of the year, and again, kindness is just a powerful thing. And John, thank you for bringing that to us. And I know it's an emotional conclusion, but I
Yeah.
think it's powerful, and it's also a good lesson for all of us out here listening and watching. Sometimes we need those reminders of something like this to keep us in the positive and doing the right thing.
And grounded and
That's right.
grateful for who we are and for everything we have, including the clothes and the air that we breathe every day.
Yes, sir. Well, John,
Amen.
I'm gonna have to conclude because I think you got a little bit emotional there.
Yeah,
So,
I did. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
uh, folks, thank you so much for being with us. I'm Hurricane Age, and with
And
me,
I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and we had
we are
another
double.
great double impact together.
That's right. We'll talk soon next Monday. Stay tuned and join us. Join the conversation. Come on, we'll bring you on the discussion. Actually, you can come with us and have a chat. So we'll talk soon. Bye for now.
Good night, everyone.